Eldring Namaskara. Dear students, today let us learn on a very important and also very interesting topic, that is local self-government. In that, types of local self-government. In the local self-government, we have two types, that is rural and urban. So in rural self-governing institutions, it is also known as three-tier system. In this, we have village panchayat, taluk panchayat and jilla panchayat. So on this topic, there are many questions asked in the examination. That is, explain the formation of three-tier system for local self-government, describe the role of Gram Panchayat in community upliftment, state the functions of Taluk Panchayat, list the committees of Jilla Panchayat, state the functions of Jilla Panchayat. So all these questions let us cover today, and this is better explained by our student Safa D from 4th semester ENC. Before starting this topic, why we need local self-government, so there is a short video which briefly explains why we need the local self-government.
I have been working so hard to clear these files, working overtime to do the work that has been assigned to me. It's impossible to finish off all this work in the next 2 years. Oh, and that doesn't mean that I will be free as soon as I am done with these files. More work will be dumped on my head as I keep finishing the work that has been given to me. If I'm facing so much trouble in my office, and I'm just a state government, what about the Indian government that has to deal with issues of the entire country? India has crores and crores of people. Now, since it's such a big and populous country, the center and state government decided to share their work. Protecting the country, printing currency, managing police stations, building roads, running schools, providing electricity connections, water connections, running government schemes, cleaning roads, collecting garbage. The list of responsibilities of the government is endless. The center decided to take care of important tasks like protecting the country and printing currency. It gave local issues to state governments. Even after dividing responsibilities, the state government realized that it had too much work. It could not look into the problems and demands of hundreds of towns and villages which come under its control. People's expectation kept on rising, but the capacity of the government to address them remained the same. Work got piled up even as new requirements of people popped up. For example, this village right here is demanding an internet connection, and this one here, they want permission to build a fast food joint in the center. And this one, this needs a cinema theater to be set up for fairs. Now, how do I, the state government, keep track of all these villages in my state? I'm panicking. Help me! Local government! Yes, local government. We should have a government at the local levels, at the village level. The local government can look into small but urgent needs of people. If there is a leaky tap in the public toilet of a village, people can complain to the local government itself. They won't have to come all the way to the city to solve this. Local government can solve small problems that I, the state government, don't have the time for. That would help us to distribute the work. So you don't have to do anything. You're just trying to escape from your responsibilities. Who even gave you this idea?
I did.
Hey, Gandhi ji.
And it was the best idea to solve local problems, give freedom to villagers, ask them to take their own decisions.
That's right. I have 1,135 files pending with me, just collecting dust. if they had a government for themselves, they can just take their own decisions. And I, the state government, can just tell them if the decisions they take are okay or not. But it's not as simple as it sounds though. They don't just all shout over each other and try to come to a decision. Nothing would get done that way. No, the local government system is completely structured. Tell him, Gandhiji.
Local government exists in 3 levels. One in the village, the second level could be at the block or taluka level, and the third at district level. We can distribute work to all 3 levels.
That's right. This was a great idea. Before Gandhiji's 3-level structure, all the affairs of the entire village usually would be managed by 5 elders. They were called panchayats. Panch referring to 5 people and ayat means assembly. Panchayat, get it? Now, they did their work without the interference of rulers. But now, with the 3-level system, they can divide the work amongst themselves. And I can relax about this 1135 file situation. Oof! This village can get clean drinking water now. This village gets some new roads. This one gets a new school. And soon, before you know it, there, much better. Now I can focus on bigger issues. State governments are responsible for the entire state. But the states include so many cities and villages, and each of these villages will have so many problems and complaints for the government. This local government is split into 3 levels: the village level, the taluk or block level, and the district level.
Local self-government. The Constitution of India provided the provisions for local self-government to have an effective development in the country from the grassroots level. Local self-government, here the word provisions means the action of providing something for use, and grassroots level means financial aspects. The Constitution itself declared that local self-government should develop the localities with the financial means. Now let us know what it actually means. Meaning, the local self-government means the management of local affairs by the representatives of a locality itself. It deals with mainly the problems concerned to local area like water supply, sanitation, education, road development, agricultural works, health, construction, etc. It means the problems are managed by the representatives of the locality. So what kind of problems may be there? Water supply, it may be either cut off or a shortage. Sanitation, it deals with throwing garbage in a public area. Education, whether the institutions are running properly, and road development. Agricultural works, they look over the agricultural areas. Health, it may be either providing free health checkups or can be keeping the surroundings clean and green so that no one falls sick. And constructions deals with building unnecessary buildings for public use. Next comes importance. It solves the local problems effectively. This means it solves the problems with 100% result. It gives effective foundation to the democratic structure of the country. Democratic refers to representative. It helps to build a proper operation in elections. Third, it contributes to have economically and educationally developed the country. Careful use of money and education system development. Fourth, it will contribute to have grassroots level development. Development of finance, that is wealth. Next, types of local self-governing institutions. There are of 2 types of local governing institutions. These are rural self-governing institutions, and second is urban self-governing institutions. Rural means village years and urban means cities. Let us learn rural self-governing institutions in detail. Uh, Types of rural self-governing institutions. Three-tier system. What does the word tier mean? It is abbreviated as times interest on ratio. The rural self-governing institutions are also called as Panchayat Raj or Panchayati Raj institutions. The Panchayat Raj institution consists of three-tier system. Raj means rule, then Panchayat at village level, Panchayat at taluk level, Panchayat at district level. Panchayat at village level, that is village panchayat, and taluk level is taluk panchayat, and district level, that is Zilla Panchayat. This system is only for the state having population of about 20 lakhs. If the state is having a population of less than 20 lakhs, there will not be a Panchayat Raj institutions at the taluk level. So now we'll learn what is village panchayat in detail. Usually a village having a population of not less than 5,000 and not more than 7,000 is declared as the village panchayat. It should be between 5,000 and 7,000. Now we'll look formation. Formation is nothing but how does the village panchayat formed. For the village panchayat, the electorates are the Gram Sabha. Electorate stands for the people who are eligible to vote in an election, and Gram Sabha is a meeting of all adults who live in the area. This means the electorates can conduct a meeting. Second, it consists of the persons registered in the electoral rolls of the village. Consist of persons who are registered in election. Third, the members of the village panchayat are directly elected by the people during election through territorial constituencies. One member for a population of 400 is elected, and seats will be reserved for women and for SC and ST. Territorial refers to the ownership of an area. Only one member is elected in 400 of them. So the seats are already reserved for women and SC ST. Fourth, the village panchayat is elected for a period of 5 years. They can rule or look over the village for 5 years. It is headed by a president or a chairman elected among the members and a vice president to assist the president. President look over the members of a vice president. It will hold the sessions once in 2 months. They conduct the sessions in the sense meeting once in 2 months. So here the word panchayat refers to assembly of five members. Staff of the village panchayat. The state government appoints an officer as a secretary, and he has the executive powers, and the office bearers of village panchayat render honorary services. Executive powers is nothing but it is a power to put plans or actions into effect. Bearer presents a check or other order to pay money. He is a messenger of the office. The different activities of the village panchayat are carried out by a number of standing committees. Among them, the important are Production Committee for development in agriculture, animal husbandry, rural industry, etc. This is a committee for production purpose. Second, Social Justice Committee for socio-economic justice, education and cultural interest. This committee look over the education system. Third, Amenities Committee for education, public health, public work, etc. Amenity stands for providing comfort for public health and etc. The financial resources for this village panchayat is the amount sanctioned as a grant in aid by Zilla Panchayat, Taluk Panchayat and a state government. The amount is also earned through taxes and fees, etc. Resources. From where they get the finance? Grant in aid, it is a type of scholarship from the Zilla, that is district. Now we'll move towards the functions of village panchayat. Agriculture development. They develop the agricultural related problems, then land improvements, land reforms, land consolidation and soil conservation. This means improve lands. Land reforms means the representatives of the village will distribute the surplus land to the landless people, and surplus here refers to the land which is not in agricultural use. Then land consolidation is nothing but converting many small farms into one big farm. Soil conservation, as you all know, it is a prevention of soil erosion by protective measures against water and wind damage. Then third, watershed development and irrigation developments. Watershed development is judicious use of all the natural resources. They look over the development. Irrigation development here stands for watering the crops in a proper way, that is through pipes, etc. Fourth, fisheries works. It is an occupation of capturing fish for profit and selling it. Fifth, minor forest development. Minor forest development, whenever it is necessary, the concerned staff members develop the forest. Sixth, animal husbandry, poultry farming. Animal husbandry is nothing but taking care of animals. Poultry farming is chickens are farmed in great numbers. Social forestry and farm forestry. Social forestry refers to the management of forests for the benefits of local communities. Farm forestry means growing trees or farmlands for commercial purposes. Eighth, khadi, cottage and small scale industry development. Khadi, as you all know, hand woven cloth that is made by hands, and we know that villagers are very creative. They won't sit idle. Instead, they create something which is important. They goes to small scale industries and works for the development of village. Then ninth, rural housing and drinking water supply works. Rural housing in the sense providing house for the below poverty line. Then 10th, libraries, cultural activities, family welfare, health and sanitation developments. 11th, public distribution system and maintenance of community assets. This refers to distributing food grains in an affordable prices. 12th, rural electrification and distribution system development. Rural electrification here is a process of bringing electrical power to rural areas. The next thing we'll see is Taluk Panchayat. According to the Constitution of India, the Taluk Panchayat has been established at Taluk level. So what is Taluk? It is a sub-district, that is, it comes under district. Composition. It means introduction about Taluk Panchayat. Composition. In Taluk Panchayat, for every 10,000 population, one member is elected by election, and a taluk having more than 1 lakh population is going to have minimum of 11 members. So one member is elected for 10,000 population and 11 members for more than 1 lakh. Second, members of Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly whose constituencies fall in a particular taluk are also nominated as members of the Taluk Panchayat. A group of voters is known as constituencies. So even they also are the members of taluk. Third, members of Rajya Sabha and the Legislative Council who have enrolled themselves as voters in the taluk are also nominated as members of the Taluk Panchayat. And the voters of Rajya Sabha are also nominated as members of Taluk Panchayat. Fourth, 1/5 of the presidents of the village panchayats of that taluk are also nominated as members of Taluk Panchayat for 1 year. This means who stays in that particular taluk are also the members of Taluk Panchayat. Fifth, president and vice president of the Taluk Panchayat are elected from the elected members. So they are elected by the elected members. In the sense who have been nominated can elect the president and vice president. Term is nothing but how many years the members can rule or look over the taluk. The term of the Taluk Panchayat is 5 years. They can look over the taluk for 5 years. Within this term they can develop the taluk. Staff of Taluk Panchayat. Now we'll move towards the staff of Taluk Panchayat. Assistant Commissioner of State Service is appointed as the executive officer by state government. The financial resource for the Taluk Panchayat is the grant in aid by government or Zilla Panchayat to which it belongs, loans from government, income from taxes and fees collection, etc. Here also the Zilla provides the finance and the income is earned through taxes and fees, etc. for the development of taluk. Then functions of Taluk Panchayat. It does all functions as the village panchayat at taluk level in large scale, depends on population and according to the 11th schedule of the constitution. It is as same as a village panchayat. It has been clearly mentioned in the 11th schedule of constitution, so accordingly it functions. Now let's have a look on third tier of rural self-governing institutions, that is Zilla Panchayat. Zilla is nothing but district. The Zilla Panchayat are established at Zilla level in every state. Composition. For every 40,000 population, one member is elected through election. Here, one member is elected for 40,000 population. Second, members of Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly whose constituencies fall in particular district will also be ex officio members of Zilla Panchayat. So what is ex officio member? It is a member who can be elected directly without the election processes. Third, members of Rajya Sabha and Legislative Council who are from that district and enrolled as voters are also ex officio members of Zilla Panchayat. Rajya Sabha means who belongs to that district are also ex officio member. Fourth, 1/5 of the presidents of the Taluk Panchayats are also nominated as members of Zilla Panchayat for 1 year. So 1/5 of presidents of the Taluk are members of Zilla Panchayat itself. The president and vice president are elected from the members of Zilla Panchayat. President and vice president are elected by Zilla. Term. These members are elected for a period of 5 years. They can look over the Zilla for 5 years for development purposes. Committees. Every Zilla Panchayat has following committees. General Standing Committee. This is a time-to-time working committee. Second, Finance, Audit and Planning Committee. Audit is nothing but inspection. Third, Education and Health Committee. This committee manage education and health. Fourth, Social Justice Committee. Social justice in the sense voting rights. Agricultural and Industrial Committee. This committee develops the industries and all. Staff. The state government appoints DC as the chief executive of the Zilla Panchayat. So the current DC, that is Deputy Commissioner of Belgavi, is K. Harish Kumar. The DC itself manages all the programs, and the office of Zilla Panchayat is situated at Nehru Nagar, Belgavi. Financial resources. Granting aid by state government. They get the finance directly by the state government. Second, income from tax and fees. From tax and fees they get the income. Third, loans and other contributions. Functions of Zilla Panchayat. Zilla Panchayat performs all the functions as village and taluk panchayats in large scale at district level as per 11th schedule of the Constitution of India. Same functions as of village and taluk, and this also have been mentioned in 11th schedule of Indian Constitution. Urban self-governing institutions. Lastly, we'll look the second type of local self-governing institutions, that is urban self-governing institutions. The urban self-governing institutions will look after the affairs of urban areas. It is provided with the municipal corporation for larger urban areas, municipal council for small urban areas, and Nagar Panchayat for a transitional area, that is the area bigger than village and smaller than city. These institutions have been established for urban areas like cities and all. So it provides municipal corporation for larger urban areas. Municipal corporation will look over the larger urban areas, and municipal council for small cities, and Nagar Panchayat for transitional area. This means area bigger than village and smaller than city. So lastly, I will conclude what all we have studied today. We saw local self-government, types of it. Under that we studied village panchayat, taluk panchayat and Zilla Panchayat, and finally urban self-governing institutions. Thank you all.